Hello my darlings and welcome to a new Booker reading vlog where I read books that have been nominated for the Booker Longlist. So let's get straight into it. We'll start with the Vivisectors, that's who I tried to match my makeup to today, by Missouri Williams. This is about this very detached, apathetic graduate student who is ordered to befriend the university's most controversial student by her boss, only to find that she has been pulled into something that is romantic. It's set in this very decaying city where nature is reclaiming everything slowly. It was giving very surreal literary fiction, a lot of emotional detachment. Sorry, Bluebell's standing right next to the camera and that's why it's shaking. There she is. I think some of the main themes were of alienation. So the protagonist is very disconnected from both herself and everyone around her. There was also, I think, some cancel culture going on, maybe a failure of communication, misunderstandings, because the student that she's forced to befriend has offended a university professor. It was very vague though. We don't actually know what was said that offended him. I did DNF this, so I'm saying I haven't read it all, so that's why I might have some unanswered questions. I'm not sure. But there wasn't much plot from what I read. It was just, I was just questioning, why should I care about any of these characters? Especially when the main character seems to care about fuck all. And it was also very exposition heavy with details that just didn't seem pertinent to the story. It was very tell over show, and I just felt like it was unbalanced in how it was being told. The writing itself was good, but okay, look, this is a bit harsh, but I just felt like the book was sucking its own dick. That's the vibe I was getting. It was a big dead rock and I was bored by it. And that is why I DNF'd, because of the last the vlog where I forced myself to push through things. I'm like, bro, I don't give a fuck about anything that's going on in this book, and I'm calling it. So I called it. I DNF'd that one. Then I picked up The Shadow of the Object by Chloe Aridjis. So in this book we have a woman who receives this rather traumatic dog bite on her hand, and she lands herself in hospital. Her name is Flora. And while she's there, she forms this very unexpected bond with another inpatient who is an elderly woman, I think she was German, who is obsessed with collecting antique toys. What are they called again? Magic lamps, I think that's what they call them. It seems to be sort of like a projector. And they end up forming this very unusual friendship that turns into this sort of dreamlike meditation about memory and illusion and grief and mortality. So her encountering this injury and her brush with others who are ill or dying prompts the main character to have reflections about life's fragility, and with the projector being a main motif in the book, art and illusion, or with the shadow play, I feel like that was a metaphor for storytelling and memory, and about how memories are shadows of what once existed. She's so cute. I'll just put her in the frame. There she is. But shadows can also still affect dimension. The main character, Flora, polishes silver, and sometimes she chooses to leave a bit of the black tarnish in because it adds depth to the item. But also, like, the projectors are also representing memory. The past can still linger like this projected image, and it never entirely disappears. But okay, this book, so I did finish this one. I don't feel like she actually spent that much time with Wilhelmina, so I just didn't believe their very deep bond at all. I also didn't feel anything towards the romance that eventuates. I don't want to talk about that because I feel like that's kind of a spoiler, the person she has a romance with too. I was like, what is happening here? Are they in love? What's going on? I didn't feel anything towards any of the characters, honestly, except for the little mouse. That little mouse carried me through the book, and I didn't appreciate seeing it harmed. So there are animal deaths in this. I do want to say that people are affected by that. But there was no plot really. And I felt the writing's decent, but I felt like the writer was trying to write banger lines. You know, I felt the intention behind, like, see what I did there? That's a good one. And even though it was a short book, it did feel like a slog to get through. It took me a while. So I didn't really enjoy the reading experience of this. I didn't care about the characters. There was really no story. So I'm giving this a generous 3. So generous 3 has pretty much been the top score that I've given any of these books. And that's, yeah, I'm being generous with that. So this was a 3. And then I picked up The Things We Never Say by Elizabeth Strout. This is about this very quiet history teacher whose life is changed by this secret that is revealed to them. And he's just pondering about how we can never really fully know the people closest to us. It was just a very slow-paced lit fic, very character-driven, about the secrets that we tend to keep and how everybody hides part of themselves, even from the people they love the most. It was also about loneliness and connection and how isolation can exist even within long-term relationships and close communities. I think it was also a bit about compassion. It was encouraging people to be empathetic to every person, even those who act out or may not be pleasant to be around because everybody is carrying unseen struggles and battles. There was a saying, you'd be kind to those who meet because you don't know what battles they're fighting. It was giving that vibe. We started off well. So it starts off with, we're learning that his son crashed his car that killed his girlfriend. His girlfriend was at the time giving him head. So the son survived, the girlfriend did not. And then we're told that Artie, our main character, actually secretly wants to off himself. He's just trying to find an opportunity to do it, but he wants to do it in a way that his wife and son don't know that he's actually killed himself. So I thought, whoa, is this going to be like a really dark, full-on book? No, that opening with all that stuff does not set the tone for the rest of the book. So it's not that exciting. That is the most exciting dump of information that you're going to get in this book. Artie is just constantly saying, why don't people ever say anything real? He hates small talk. He complains about that and how, you know, he doesn't really know, you know, the depth of people. And yet he keeps everything to his fucking self. I'm like, my guy, you can't complain that other people aren't telling you things when you're going home to your wife every night and not being honest. He might say, I'm not lying. You're withholding information. You're withholding information. You complain that people don't be vulnerable. They're not opening up. They're not telling people things. And you're keeping this vital information to yourself. Way to be a hypocrite, my dude. The mental health stuff in this too, I don't know if it was done very sensitively. His wife is supposed to be a therapist. Fuck patient client confidentiality. She just tells everybody everything about everything that her clients are saying. And I'm like, you are not a very good therapist. And also she's pretty piss poor at, well, Artie complains that how can she not know what I'm feeling and what I'm going through? I'm like, yeah, okay, she might be a therapist, but she's not a fucking mind reader. She can't read your thoughts. She's asked you. She's like, hey, are you okay? Is there anything you want to talk about? And you go, no, everything's fine. So why shouldn't she trust what you've said to her? I think you're being a bit unrealistic in what you're expecting her to be able to tell just from your aura, I guess. People's body sizes were mentioned too. So I feel like this was a little bit fat phobic, just a little bit. It was surprisingly a very political book. And I did see after I read this that a lot of the negative reviews are because of that. So Artie is not a fan of the current US president. They're not named, but we all know who they are. Elon Musk is named though. So he's dragged under the bus, but the president is not named. It's he who shall not be named situation, but that is actually quite prominently featured in the book. However, even though this book was trying to, I guess, tackle some heavier topics, or it was trying to feel emotional, like say a Frederick Buckman book tends to be. I felt it was quite shallow. I felt like the author was just soapboxing and using this as a vehicle of presenting their own views. I didn't feel any depth to the book. I didn't form a connection. So therefore, when anything sad happened, I just felt nothing whatsoever. I will give it props. It's easy to read. It's written in a very consumable way. It's a fast read. It was a fine story. I gave it a 3 stars. It was fine, but I think if you're not feeling a connection to the characters and these heavy things are not hitting, then you're not going to really enjoy the book. It's one of those books where you either feel it or you don't. And unfortunately, I was in the latter category. So those were the 3 I read. Let me sum them up. So we've got The Vivisectors by Missouri Williams, which was a DNF for me. I did read The Shadow of the Object by Chloe Aridjis, 3 stars. The Mouse was my support animal. And then we've got The Things We Never Say by Elizabeth Strout, 3 stars. Dude should have said something, because there is the secret that we're told about, the big reveal. He finds out. It's something that you should definitely talk to perhaps the other people that secret involves, and yet he chooses not to. Leaves that, and maybe that's a spoiler saying that he leaves that completely unsaid, but that is something that did piss me off. I'm like, really? We've just got this massive, you're just gonna swallow that down. Right, especially when he's like, people really need to talk to each other and to reveal themselves to each other and to get to know each other. And then he finds out this big thing and he's like, yeah, I'm just going to pretend that I don't know that and just be resentful about it, but not communicate whatsoever. So, yeah. Once again, this was a generous 3. So what do we have left on this booker? I think I've only got 3 books left. So we've got Switsy by Emma Cline. I did contact the publishers to see if they would send me an ARC, but I'm a very small booktuber, so I don't think they're gonna. I've never done that before, gone like, hey, I'm doing the book of books, could you send me a copy? So I'm not holding out hope for that. So I think that's due in September unless they speed run it. The Disappearers by Marlon James, I believe, is also in September unless we just magically get it sooner. John of John by Douglas Stewart, I have gotten. So I will read that for now, but I'm going to wait until I've read the final 3 to do another vlog. So possibly it might not be up until September, and I believe the short list is going to be announced then. So we'll see what I think about the final 3. All Them Dogs by Jamal White, I can see my library has ordered it in now. I don't know if that's going to come in time. And to be honest, I just don't think I want to read it. I'm even iffy about The Disappearers because I just don't like violence. I really don't like reading violence in lit fic at all. It just absolutely brings my spirit down. So we'll see. I might be able to pick it up. I might not. So far, this has been absolutely abysmal. A generous 3 is the top rating that I have given, with everything all the way down to a 1 or DNF now, because I'm DNFing stuff. So far, if I had to pick a favorite of what I've read thus far, maybe The Things We Never Say, just because it was an easier read, whereas the other ones that I've given a generous 3, The Renovation and May We Feed the King, had parts that did feel like slogs to get through, whereas I would say I did not ever reach a lull in The Things We Never Say. It just felt like a very smooth, no catching read. I was just able to slide, with the scissors. I got the full glide all the way through the end, whereas May We Feed the King and The Renovation, there were some bits I might have got my feet stuck in the mud in. So, can't believe Strout's the best so far. Crazy times. If you've read any of these ones that I've just read, let me know what you think about them, or if you've read any of the booker now that it's been out for a bit, let me know what your thoughts are on it so far. But until next time, stay bookish, Star Child.